The NoDa Art District in Charlotte, North Carolina is home to a great collection of artists and artisans, which made it the perfect place to open NoDa Brewing Company in 2012. Todd and Susie Ford left successful jobs to pursue the art of making beer, good beer, and to have fun doing it. So how'd you guys get in the beer business?
Homebrewing had been a hobby of mine for since the mid-90s.
So you'd been making beer at home?
Exactly. Both of us came from more corporate jobs. My wife was a banker here in Charlotte, and I was working as an airline pilot. I think we kind of grew tired of the fact that we had a little less control of our careers, less than we wanted to.
What business tools did you bring to the table to help you make this happen?
We've surrounded ourselves with a talented staff.
We found people who had passion similar to ours, if not greater.
We try and treat our business like a family. Our oldest son works for us. Our daughter worked for us at one point. Everyone just has their own personality that kind of fits in the big puzzle of NoDa Brewing.
Speaking about your brewers, how'd you find your head brewer?
Oh my gosh, we got so lucky. When we were looking at starting a brewery, we're like coming back to Chad, and it was a no-brainer.
We were thrilled to have Chad on board, and he has definitely shaped our company to a large extent.
We're very passionate about beer, and he's really, really passionate about beer.
I basically worked in the medical industry my whole life, and all my free time I basically was brewing constantly on a weekly basis, working festivals, tastings, hosting events and things like that.
So you were nonstop research?
Yeah, I was doing constant free time research, spent a lot of money traveling to a lot of events and working events and whatnot, so I got to see the industry from multiple sides.
So Chad, tell us about the actual process. I mean, how's beer made?
In a nutshell, the way that you make an alcoholic beverage is actually pretty straightforward. The first thing we gotta do is crack our grain open, and then we send that grain up into our mash tun where the mashing process begins, and where we actually will be hitting it or hydrating it with hot water. And that hot water that we hit it with is a very specific temperature, and all of a sudden you get the sugar water solution that we call wort. And that wort is then transferred over to our boil kettle where we boil it for at least an hour. And we add our, what we kind of see as the fun part, because I mean, we got hops in the logo. Hops are a huge part of beer. In the most basic sense, they balance the sweetness that you get from the sugar extraction, but they also add a lot of flavors, they add a lot of aromas, they have a multifaceted role.
As much as we like traditional beer styles and what's been around for centuries, we're also pushing the limits. One of the ways we did it was encourage younger brewers to come up with a new and unique beer every single week.
You have a new specialty beer that comes out every single week?
Every Tuesday. We have not repeated a weekly brew. We call it the Notable Series. We like to do the play on names. We like the names to be fun.
The Notable Series?
Notable Series.
We started with this big task of having to do a new beer every single Tuesday. It's called the Notable Series, simply because we like to run the name into the ground as often as possible. But really what it was is a kind of a challenge for us to stay creative as brewers and to use our little pilot system, our little small batch system to make something unique every single week, to always have something every week that was different on tap.
How do patrons respond?
Oh, they love
it.
Tuesday's one of our more popular nights.
Summer in a glass.
The Brewmaster and his creative gang make a video each week to introduce their new beer and having fun with the name and concept.
It's a Raging Leprechaun Irish Red Ale.
There's a lot of breweries out there that have videos that explain what their beers are, and it's nice because it's not only that you get to hear in verbal detail.
I call it extra special Bart.
You can see it poured and held by probably one of the people that brewed it, if not the exact person that brewed it, and you can get a sense of themselves and their story behind it and whatnot. Craft beer it's us in a glass, so if we could be in front of the camera and give you a 20 to 30 second spiel on what the beer was, you got to not only get a better idea of what it was, come straight from the brewer's mouth, but you also got a sense of who we were and everything like that. And that evolved into full production videos and us just having it as another avenue of expressing ourselves.
These videos, yes, they're not that good, okay?
Consider yourselves notified.
Notified. Notified?
Notified.
Notified!
Notified.
Now, you don't serve food, but you do have food outside.
Right.
So tell me about these food trucks.
It's kind of a unique spin on things that I took out west. We partner with food trucks, local small businesses just like us. People order food on their way in or after a couple beers, go out there, order food, bring the food back in here and eat. With Johnson & Wales being uptown, we have wonderful chefs that have started their own food truck that are stepping stones to a restaurant. So we're very fortunate to have them out here and support them, and they support us.
As much as I'd like to make our people happy, they don't want me cooking for them. They really don't. So it's much better to have these trained chefs. They're creative with the food just as we're creative with the beer.
Dogs are everywhere. Fantastic. Your run club.
Right.
Tell me about that. How'd that happen?
A little over a year ago, one of our employees came to me and said he'd like to start a running club, Brian Mister. I said, sure, go ahead. I hate to say this. I did not expect a good turnout. It just kept growing and growing and getting bigger and bigger. Then we started doing events and fundraisers for different organizations, and now we have 200 to 250 runners probably any given Wednesday.
So in just 1 year to have a run club on a Wednesday night grow to that degree shows a couple of things. One, the brewery's dedication to their local community, and two, the involvement of the community to embrace something like this in an area which is, not typically designed for running.
So it seems like it's a perfect blend of community activity and interest in health and maybe a good beer.
Absolutely right. Well, it's definitely involves some good beer. There's no doubt about it. But the nice focus for North Carolina is we're allowed to leverage our running business and the fact that we help repair and or prevent injuries in athletes, specifically runners. And that brand and this brand sync up so well, it just seems like a logical partnership for us.
So it works.
It works. It's great.
The neighborhood is the Arts District of Charlotte. We consider beer to be an art form. We start with water, which is our blank canvas, and we add all the additionals. So that's our art. So we couldn't be in a more perfect neighborhood for us.
Whatever we do, we try to put the passion into that just as we do into our product. So we've invited local artists to come and display their work here. We get a very eclectic mix of art, some modern, some classical in nature, but always interesting and always by a local artist here.
NoDa Brewing entered the Great American Beer Festival in Denver, Colorado, and won a silver medal for their brew, Coco Loco.
We didn't expect anything whatsoever, so we were all tearing up, and it was easily one of the best moments of my life. It was amazing.
It's not about medals for us, but it's certainly nice to get one every now and then. Whatever our vision was when we started this business, it's completely changed from that. We're off script now, and it's pretty exciting to see exactly how much people get excited about the product, not just ours, but craft beer in general.
I think a lot of people, once they start delving into craft beer and understand and appreciate it for what it is, when you drink our beer, you literally taste the intent and the purpose that we have behind it. You are drinking, in essence, an expression of our team every time you drink a NoDa beer.
One thing's for sure, NoDa's approach is an artistic expression in brewing that's connecting well with a lot of people in the Charlotte region.